Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I know it has been a little bit since I have posted videos a little bit more consistently, and it's been just a little bit crazy since coming back from Iceland, being sick, holidays, birthdays, it's just been busy. And so I figured this video, what I wanted to do is I want to talk about what are some of the things that went well and some of the things that didn't this year in 2024. And as I am going to be doing that, we're also going to be finishing up these garden beds to just kind of finish putting them to rest for winter. So hopefully they'll be ready for spring. Basically, what I'm doing in these beds is I'm just getting them all cleaned up, weeded out, getting all the plants out, and I'm covering them with like wood chips and leaves just to kind of not expose the soil. Figured I'd show you here. Look at my garlic, guys. I planted about 80 cloves of garlic in October. It seems to be doing pretty good. But all the onion seeds I planted, haven't really seen anything, but I've been noticing a lot of holes in my garden. So I'm wondering if I'm having a critter in here. But yeah, just kind of going through and getting this garden cleaned up. So I kind of think that the biggest problem that I had with my garden this year was poor soil quality. And, and I believe it is because, we finished building our house, and where I put my garden, it was just like bare. It was, clay, hard clay, dirt, soil, nothing was growing on it, and I just think it just did not have a lot of the nutrients that my plants needed to thrive in. So that has been something I have been really trying to focus on this year. I've been putting a lot of amendments and just adding soil and compost to the beds, just trying to build better soil quality, because one of my biggest hopes is that for the 2025 garden I'll be able to produce more because I have better soil. And that's also why we are working in the garden this morning and covering it, because from what I have read, that's going to help also not only protect the soil and keep it from drying out, but by putting all of like these dried like leaves and sticks and things on top of that, that's also something that can help it break down, and that will also add more nutrients to the soil to these garden beds. But as I am here like pulling all of these dead stems from this trellis, it reminds me of something that actually went good for me this year. As you've seen in previous videos, green beans, they did not do well for me at all this year, with the exception of my asparagus beans. My asparagus beans, they did awesome for me, and they grew on the trellises. I had quite a few meals provided for me from those asparagus beans, and so that was something that went right. That was one of my most prolific things that grew in the garden this year, and I'm definitely going to be planting them again next year. Another major thing that didn't go right for me for this year was I did not plant enough. I I really wanted to preserve food, and I really did not have anything out of the garden where I was able to get enough of in order to preserve. So that is something that I'm definitely going to be changing about next year. I am going to be planting a heck of a lot more, because it wasn't just I didn't grow enough. You know, it was kind of, there were so many things that I didn't really consider whenever I was planting. I didn't think about, oh, this might be poor soil, I might not get as much from it. Or I didn't think about pests. You know, I had a lot of issues with pests this year, mostly with the tomato hornworm and my little green bean boogers and squash bugs. So I'm definitely going to be planting a lot more to kind of offset some of those things. So I'm planting more than what I think I need in 2025. So that is something that I did not do right this year. Something I did do right this year, though, to try and help save money in the garden, I was using things around my property, you know, to build my garden bed. So these are all rock that we found here on the property while digging, and so that's what I used to kind of line my beds. We have an abundance of leaves and trees, and that is what I am really trying to use to help lower the cost of the garden, especially right now where I'm winterizing. I had a few bags of cedar mulch left over, but I'm also getting a bunch of leaves that I have just to kind of, you know, use what I've got. So I'd have to say that is something I'm pretty proud of here in my garden, being a little bit resourceful and helping to save some money. Another thing that I did not do right was in March, before, you know, my last frost date, I planted peppers and tomatoes in my garden. I had bought some transplants because my seed starting didn't do good, and I planted them in the ground, and several of them died, obviously, but I think that is what stunted their growth. So I did not get as many peppers and tomatoes that I think I should have, because I planted them too early. Sharing something that did go right this year is I saved seeds for the first time. I had done a video about the snow peas that I had planted, and I let them dry out, and so I actually planted them here on these two trellises in, oh gosh, I don't know if that was August or September, and they grew. And so these were seeds that I had saved from earlier this year, and I just did this as an experiment to see if they would grow, and they grew, and that just made me so happy. And so now I'm going to be looking at more ways, like how to save seeds on more plants, because that will also be able to save money if you're able to save your own seeds from your plants. So yeah, that's one thing that went right this year. I was about to move this garden hose, and it reminded me of something else that I didn't do well this year with, and that was watering my garden. I was so afraid of overwatering and getting root rot that whenever it started getting really, really hot, I was still only watering maybe twice a week whenever it first started. And so I think that also kind of led to the demise of some of my plants, because I was not watering well. And especially, I believe it was June we had like a drought, like for the whole month of June, pretty much absolutely no rain. And I was only watering a couple times a week. So this year, whenever it gets warmer, I'm going to be sure to water more. And depending on cost, I haven't fully decided yet, but I was thinking about installing some little rain barrels to do kind of like a rain catchment system, just a little cheap one, just to try and help with watering some of these beds. Because I do know that rainwater is the best water for our plants because of all the happy little minerals and things like that. So that is a possibility for 2025, but I'm not sure. But definitely this year didn't do well with watering, but I will definitely do better with that next year. Here's something else that didn't go right. I had every intention, just never followed through. My compost pile, this poor thing, has truly been neglected. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. But for 2025, I'm gonna try. I have extra pallets, so I'm thinking about doing like a double bed to help make it easier for like tossing and turning and things like that. Again, that is a possible project for 2025. I have not decided fully yet, but this was something I had every intention of having really good compost, and it did not happen the way I was planning. So did not do well with compost this year. I think that there is a garden chore that everybody absolutely hates, and I've figured out what mine is. Mine is thinning. You know, like lettuce or carrots, or whenever things start growing and then you need to pull all the little things to give them room to grow. I don't like it. It's tedious and drives me nuts. And so I think to myself, okay, well, you can avoid having to thin if you take the time and plant all your the spaces, in between all your seeds, so they already have room to grow. But then there's the other problem. Those seeds are so tiny. I don't have the patience to sit there and drop those tiny little seeds into individual little holes. So that's something I'm gonna need to figure out for 2025, because me just scattering them and hope for the best didn't do well for me this year. I think that I could get a much better crop, and yeah, so this is like confessions of a lazy gardener, I guess, a little bit. One last look. Garden 2024 put to sleep. Thank you, garden, for a great year and all the lessons that you taught me. Here's to 2025 to be even better. Thank you everyone for watching this video. I have a lot of things that I'm going to be doing in this garden over the winter, so this is not going to be the last garden video for me, because I am actually going to be working on extending the garden, more garden beds that we're going to be getting prepped and ready for go time in the spring. Thank you again for watching. I hope you have a blessed day, and we'll catch you on the next video.